Now, a question that we always get whenever FISCHL comes up on the banner is FISCHL a good Hyperbloom trigger? And the answer is not really. She's inconsistent, she's unreliable, and she just does way better without the blooms because you don't want to mix your electro triggers in the same team if you're in like a quick bloom team, right? So what I mean by that is if you have Oz on the field, Oz will never actually attack the bloom itself. Oz will only attack the enemy. If there happens to be a bloom near the enemy or kind of in the way, then Oz will hit the bloom, making a hyper bloom. But if the bloom's not there, if the bloom's on the other side of the enemy or just like, you know, away from the enemy, if the enemy runs away from the bloom, Oz will never, ever, ever trigger that hyper bloom. So you're just going to have blooms that blow up instead of being hyper bloom triggered. Something like Kuki Shinobu, whose skill pulses out, will hit every single bloom in AoE, meaning you don't have to target a specific bloom, making Kuki Shinobu one of the best hyper bloom triggers in the game, and in some instances the best, depending on teams. But she's way more consistent and reliable at triggering hyper blooms than somebody like FISCHL. And whenever you're in a team, something like a quick bloom team where you do have blooms being created every so often, you don't want FISCHL and Kuki, because then if Oz steals a bloom away from Kuki, you're going to actually be losing damage because you don't ever build FISCHL full EM. You build her EM and crit, whereas Kuki Shinobu as a hyper bloom trigger is full EM trying to get over 1,000 EM, whereas FISCHL probably is going to be around like 300 to 400 depending on the artifacts and the weapon. And that means that you're going to be losing a ton of damage by having Oz trigger a bloom instead of Kuki. So you don't want to mix your electro characters in a hyper bloom or quick bloom team. You only want to have one, so you always know who is going to be owning the hyper bloom. So even though FISCHL is not good as a hyper bloom trigger, she is phenomenal in an aggravate team with somebody like Alhaitham, where you're not doing hyper blooms, you're just doing aggravate and spread. So definitely try her out in one of those teams. Also, you can use her with like Arlecchino for an overloaded team with Chevy and Benny. Now that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all the fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.